few days ago, I was talking to my cousin, and it was meant to be kind of like a fun discussion. We streamed it on Facebook, murag, doomsday scenarios,
Yeah.
like the worst things that can happen to society, that sort of thing. And so my cousin's in the food business, so he was very food centric in terms of talking about it. And one of his main concerns really was like, how are people going to eat? If they're losing all their jobs,
Yeah.
you guys pointed out in your website, there's like a million jobs lost.
Yeah.
Uh, no, by the time by the time another month passes, who knows? Because he was talking about restaurants and how restaurants are going to have a hard time in the future,
Yeah.
and how many people are employed in restaurants previously, 'di ba? So all of those people all of a sudden maglisod na.
Yeah.
And he was saying, so once you have this big chunk of people who all of a sudden have no jobs, have no way to essentially feed themselves, what's going to happen? So we riffed about that a little bit, and then we ended up saying, well, in the end, then I thought of you guys, and I thought, well, there's a lot of people who will be generous and kanang, because I mean, let's admit it, it's probably difficult to uh, rely on government alone to do all of these things. So that's why I thought this was
Yeah.
important to, share about the rice movement and how important it is to, in effect, like feed people.
Yeah.
Is that?
It's okay. Like, so maybe I'll take a step back, like
Mm,
how we came up with this thing, right? So first we were thinking when COVID hit, we got involved in the whole helping of the frontliners, providing PPEs, tracking, which hospitals don't have PPEs yet, so they can be prioritized and so on. We put together a platform to help do that. So then after about like 2 weeks of doing this, we realized like basically the whole world has supported frontliners, and which is really good. But it felt like maybe let's take a step back and let's look what else is being missed. Like, right, all the attention is going here. What are we missing that's also equally critical or something? And then so we asked, okay, what will help us get through this quarantine? What will help us finish this quarantine? And really the main variable of like the killing this virus or destroying it, not destroying, but letting this virus die in our social community is really the one of the variables there is how people are staying away from each other, right? Because if you can't pass it on, the virus eventually dies. So it's more of like, like it has a lifespan, and if it's not able to infect another person, then it will just die. And when it dies without being able to pass on to something else, like another host, then that's it. It's the end, and it will eventually die. So that the reason why we're doing the quarantine thing, one of the reasons, aside to flatten the curve and spread it out, but it's basically to why don't we just like stay away from each other, practice social distancing, lock down like areas that are infected, and so that we wait it out, given a month or something. If the virus is not able to spread, then it eventually dies out, and then we can reopen again as a community. So that's like the idea of like quarantine. But then realistically speaking, like some people can do that. Some people can stay in at home and stay put, but not a lot of people can do that. So realistically speaking, a lot of people like live hand to mouth, right? Paycheck to paycheck. And you're even talking about weekly paychecks to paychecks, right? So these are like your average workers. And when I say average, these are the majority of workers. And these are your servers, your waiters, your security guards, your massage therapists, your like basically like everybody that serves the community. And the jeepney drivers. I mean, I could go on and on. And then suddenly, boom, they've been told, hey guys, there's something more important. The virus, everybody has to stay home. And it's true. I guess they want to do their part, but it's very hard, right? Like, there's just no food at home. What will I do? Like, this doesn't make sense. To them, it doesn't make sense because they have a more pressing need. The virus is some unknown somewhere, but hunger is very visible right now. They're crying baby, their angry wife, their kids crying, like it's just, or them mismo, like their stomach growling, like it's like it is very real situation for very many people. And so we said, okay, how can we help support these people to stay home? Because if they don't stay home, we don't get out longer. I mean, we don't get to go out sooner, right? It will prolong the whole community, right? Like that's why you have in social media, like people start bashing people who are not practicing distancing, because it's like we all know that if they don't have the discipline, then we don't get to go out together, you know. It delays the timeline per se. So we need to do something about it. So we said, okay, what can we do to help people stay home? And so we said, okay, why don't we do relief goods? So yeah, we got excited about that. We said, okay, where will we buy? So we were imagining already, like, how will we buy? Trying to piece the logistics together. We will buy rice, we'll buy like canned goods, noodles, and then we were hit with the obvious, right? How do we repack these things? It's like we'll buy from one place and then we'll repack it, but we can't like meet. We can't like So we were coming up with like crazy ideas, like okay, we'll deliver some of the goods in this house, some other house for this other goods, and then somebody will like pick it all up and some like and it was ridiculous. So my sister came up with the idea, and she was like, hey, why don't we like just give them rice, and then like not like a plastic of rice, like a sack of rice. So Filipinos, as long as na rice, like buhi na, right? I mean, it sucks just to have rice, but if nanay rice, mabuhi na. Like you
The
won't go
the
hungry.
the goal is to live right now.
Yeah, just goes basta importante. We even say like ang importante buhi. You know, it may suck, but rice. If na rice buhi, Filipino buhi. And so and then she said, okay, and why don't we call it like the rice movement? And so that's when we had like the hashtag together we will rise,
Hmm.
and so that's sort of like we got excited about that, and then friends, co-workers, we mobilized, and that's basically how it started.
Yeah, but I think also moving forward, it's really important because there will be a huge sector of society that will be unemployed, having a hard time to feed themselves, and through no fault of their own. It's just that
Yeah,
the jobs that they had prior are just no longer available, and same
yeah.
thing. You
i
even
I hate to say the obvious, man, but this is like a stopgap. This is even just like a drop in the bucket, dude. Like what we're doing right now, I try to think of like we're helping people, right? But really the need is so big, like so many people are affected. We Like if you think about statistic, 1 million people lost jobs. Even let's just say half of those don't have savings. That's 500,000 families right there, right? How many have we helped? I think around 300. I'm not so sure, but around almost 2,000 individuals for a month, and this is still gonna keep
mm,
going. And then so that's the huge number of people. So the way I try to think of it, to stay without being overwhelmed, is just say like, okay, we've helped at least these people. The other people, it sucks, but these people, at least we made a difference here. And but if you really want to look at the whole situation, we need something else. We need something else, like as a society, a government level thing. Like we need to our current models of organization in government and the way we're mobilizing things, our private sector and the way the economy works, we're not prepared for this thing. Like it's not designed. The way we structure society is not designed to survive something like this, right? Like
yeah,
everything we're
we
doing,
can't
like
just
the
shut down.
yeah, we can't shut down because we are always living in like the moment, like paycheck to paycheck. And so if you cut that off suddenly, like what now? Like people are gonna go hungry, and then like this is bad. It's just bad.
No, I agree with you, Bai. So like so there's comments here on I can see like comments on the thing, and then there's like a lot of people just like you know right now. I mean, I'm not
Oh
going to
wow,
like
I didn't even know that this comment section existed. All right, I just clicked it.
yeah. So there's a lot of people asking for help, ba. And I know
Yeah.
you guys have been receiving so many messages also of people just asking for essentially food at this point,
Yeah.
diba?
I
And
think one of the thoughts that I'm trying to think by is because honestly, like helping is good and we are doing everything that we can, and I'm sure like donors are giving, but and we'll continue to give as long as there is, but this is not sustainable. Like this is this is not something we can keep doing, not because we don't want to, but because we need to figure out a way to get the economy or society helping each other, like contributing to making sure that everybody is able to get food in their table and contributing in some way in this kind of scenario where we have lockdown, or when we have like um general community quarantine, or even when we go back to the world and it's already open. But the reality is, it has already wiped out like a million jobs, and those jobs are not like suddenly gonna, come back, right? Like, I think we have to realize that the jobs that have been lost, the restaurants that have closed down, when the quarantine ends, it's not suddenly gonna be like magic, like okay, back and reopen. Like, dude, the restaurant went bankrupt. Like, the business went bankrupt. It's not like suddenly they can bootstrap their operations. People have lost their savings. It's not like suddenly they want to go and shop, right? Like, this is really bad in the sense that we have hit it's not like we're on pause. The economy is not on pause. The economy has been destroyed. And I say this like laughing, but it's not because I find it funny, but because this is it's not great, man. Like, what happened is it's not good, and so it has been destroyed, and we need to figure out a way as a community, like how do we rise up from this very quickly, right? Because